I just put up my first ad for a sales manager, and I wasn't getting anybody who was the right fit. So I said to my husband, what I need is I don't need someone to go out and do appointment setting or cold calling. I just need somebody who can talk to our customers when they want to work with us and give them the right advice on what products are suitable for them. And he was telling me all the differences between inbound sales and outbound sales and sales closes and all these words I didn't even know existed. And when you know the right questions to ask and you've got the right people to ask, all of a sudden it's making life so much easier because now I know what I need is what's called an inbound salesperson.
Hey there and welcome to the Bringing Business to Retail podcast. If you're looking to get more sales, more customers, master your marketing, and ultimately take control of your retail or e-commerce business, then you're in the right place. I'm Selena Knight, a retail growth strategist and multi-award-winning store owner whose superpower is uncovering exactly what your business requires to move to the next level. I'll provide you with the strategies, the tools, and the insight you need to scale your store. All you need to do is take action. Ready to get started? Hey there, and welcome to the Bringing Business to Retail podcast. Today, I'm taking you for a little bit of a walk down memory lane. Now, not your memory lane, but my memory lane. Yes, let me fill you in on what I did. If you listen to the podcast, you'll know back in March, I think it was, we got COVID. I got COVID, my family got COVID, my team got COVID, even though we don't work together. And whilst I was sick, and I was really sick for 2 weeks, like it really laid me on my ass for 2 weeks, some of my team weren't pulling their weight. And honestly, I didn't have the capacity to deal with it. I was so sick, I actually couldn't get out of bed most of the time. I couldn't think. And even after COVID, up until even I still have a little bit of it now, but after COVID, I really struggled with the brain fog and remembering words, and I would be in the middle of a conversation and forget where I was going with it. But whilst I was sick, as I said, some of my team weren't pulling their weight. And so there are a lot of deadlines that did not get hit. And when that happens, it affects other people in the team. So there was a lot of friction and a lot of stress, and I don't want to work. I don't know about you, but I don't want my team to be stressed. We have deadlines, and there's that kind of short-term stress where you know everybody's working towards maybe a big deadline like we are when we're having a big event. But when it's basic day-to-day stuff, no one should be under a lot of stress. If it is formulaic, if it is routine, if it happens every week, no one should be stressed about this. And I think a lot of this was the fact that we'd worked so long together that everybody kind of knew their thing, and I'd lost that requiring people to check off their work. When I recovered, I decided that I had actually let my leadership slip, and not just while I was sick. Clearly, that comfort that had come with everybody working together had meant that everything had gotten too relaxed. So as the leader, I had to have some really hard conversations, and I had to sit down with the people in the team and reset KPIs and reiterate my expectations. Now, what happened was not necessarily what I expected. Given that we'd worked together for so long, I thought that it would just be a bit of a refresh. But no, that is not what happened. I literally, between Monday and Friday, lost 80% of my team. Yep. It was down to myself, Elizabeth, and one of our freelancers who is absolutely amazing and is always on time, and didn't have to have a hard conversation with her because she's fabulous. And even then, the next week, I was having my meeting with Elizabeth, and she actually didn't know that we had lost just about all of the team. And she told me that she wanted to move away from working for us as much as she does into a more project role, which was fine because I had actually figured that out for myself and was in the process of recruiting some team members to allow for that to happen. But within 10 days, I went from a full team to pretty much no team, one freelancer and one person who was going to stay with me, but not as much. And it was one of those moments, especially when you're recovering from being sick, where you have to ask yourself, or you don't have to, but I certainly felt like I had to ask myself, did I really want to continue with this journey? Because last year I closed down the agency because it was not what I wanted to do. And a few months later, I have no team. So if I wanted to continue, I would have to start from scratch pretty much. And look, Elizabeth is still here. She still works as part of our team and we would be lost without her. So don't worry if you're listening and you're thinking, oh my gosh, Elizabeth's gone. No, she's still here. She's still staying with us, but she's just taking on a little bit of a different role in the business, which is great for her and it is great for us. In this time of, do I want to continue? I was thinking that if this was me last year, I may well have chucked in the towel. I may have just gone, you know what? I don't need to do this anymore. Why don't I go and find something else to do? I can just let my programs run on autopilot. They'll bring in money and I can go and find something else. But even though I was still recovering from illness, I saw this as an opportunity and I wasn't down. I was actually quite invigorated. I was sad that we let the team go, but I was actually seeing this as a refresh, like a complete refresh to build the team that I needed now rather than the team that I needed 5 years ago. And if you do listen to the podcast, you'll know that I did one kind of probably back in March when I had COVID, where I talked about as you grow in your business, you leave average behind and you do outgrow people and you do outgrow your team. And it doesn't mean that they're bad at what they do. It just means they're not the right people for you now. And that was where I was at. I realized that the people I needed now had to be on board with my new vision and they had to be excited about it and they had to have a different mindset. And so I decided that I would make some recordings along the way of how my day was going so that I could share it with you, because I could see at the time that this was one of those moments when I would either look back on it in 6 or 12 months and just think that was the pivotal moment when shit happened, or that was the pivotal moment when I made a really, really bad mistake and shit happened. So if you are ready to walk down memory lane with me, I want to share these recordings with you. And then at the end, I will check back in and update you with what's been happening. So we're a couple of weeks post what I call the reset. And wow, what a day I have had today. I started off this morning, I woke up at about 5 o'clock. And I think that's because when I have 7 a.m. meetings, I'm always, you know how it is, like when you have to catch an early flight, you're always on edge. But I woke up at about 5 o'clock and I just kind of laid in bed for a little while until I got so hungry I had to wake up and get out of bed, had my cup of tea and did my 7 a.m. meeting. And the 7 a.m. meeting was with an ads agency in America. And it's always a weird conversation when you've owned an ads agency to give your stuff to somebody else. But this ads agency, because I've been interviewing agencies over the last week, and this agency specializes in the funnel that I want to promote. So we currently have a funnel and it's doing okay, but it needs to scale. And so as anyone knows, when you're running Facebook ads, scaling can often be the most difficult part because the minute you put more money in, it seems like everything goes out the window. And so I had a great conversation with them. And then they told me what they charge for a monthly fee, which feels like a lot of money, even for me. Anyway, 8 o'clock came and I went to the gym. One of the other things that the reset has done has really made me look at my health, and the things I've been doing are no longer working. So I was looking at this new nutrition program based on women who are over 45. Now, I'm only just there, but it's all based on how your metabolism changes as you get a bit older, strength training instead of cardio training. And
like I said, I've been researching it and I've kind of liked what I've read. But then, nutrition is one of those things that everybody can get on the bandwagon and just manipulate whatever they find, whatever data they find to work for them. So in my training session today, I actually didn't do any training. I spoke to my personal trainer about this program and the way it runs. And we had a really good talk about it. And the funny thing was, when I arrived at the PT session, Lauren said to me, how are you today? And I said, I feel a little bit unsettled. And she said, why? What's wrong? What's wrong? I said, nothing's wrong. I just had this phone call and this agency I was talking to seems good, but they're a lot more money than I was expecting to have to pay. And here's the classic thing. My personal trainer used to have a marketing agency herself. And so she looked at me and she said, I think you should do it. And I said, what do you mean? I haven't even told you anything about it. She's like, no, but I think you should do it because the fact that you're unsettled by this, this means to me that you already know that you should do it. You're just coming to grips with the cost. And I was like, oh, okay. So blah, talked about nutrition, came away from that session actually feeling really good and really positive and in control. And I think that's a lot of the stuff that we forget, is that feeling in control gives you confidence. It gives you, having that clarity of what you want to achieve gives you the confidence to be in control. And just having this big decision to make and then talking to Lauren about my health and nutrition. And I just walked out of there thinking, I'm good today. And I came home and I was in such a good mood, even though nothing had really particularly happened. And I had to have a difficult conversation with one of my new hires. And I've hired 2 new people, and one of them's doing really well. And one of them isn't kind of at the level I would expect this far into employment. And so one of the things I've learnt over my years, but also one of the things about being in control, is having this confidence to make hard decisions, to have hard conversations. And so I did have a hard conversation with her today, which was basically, I have to admit, you're not where I thought you would be by now. And there's some red flags going off for me. And I was very open and honest. And I said, but I do believe that you're good at what you do. So we have a choice now. And I am totally okay with whatever you decide. If you decide that you want to go, all good, we'll finish up, we'll pay you for what you've done, and I'm not going to be offended. But if you want to stay, you really need to rethink how our business works, how our brand works, and whether you want to be part of that. And so I haven't got that decision back yet, but it was actually it's never a nice conversation to have that, but it was a very open conversation, and I didn't walk away feeling like a bitch, which is great. And I did feel like I was very much in control of my business. So next call, my day was filled with calls today. The next call I had was with another agency, and it went really, really well. And, I'm still waiting to have further discussions with them. And then I had a conversation with a grant company. So they apply for grants on your behalf, and called him and said, oh, look, I don't know if I qualify for this grant, but it's a 6-figure grant. So I'm prepared to sit down and have a conversation with you, because if we get it, that's going to be amazing. And just think of all the people we can help with that additional income into the business. And had a conversation. He was like, yeah, I think you would qualify, but it is an extremely competitive grant. So the first round, about 4% get through, and the second round, you've got about a 50% chance. So up to you whether you want to spend the money or if you want to do it yourself, because there's two stages. And I just was in such a positive frame of mind. I feel like I can see everything that's going to happen in the next 12 months, and all of it looks pretty damn good. And I just said to him, great, you can do it. It's actually, I don't want to spend the time doing it. I'm prepared to spend the $1,000 or whatever it is to get you guys to do it, because this is what you're experts at. And realistically, that's probably a week of my time, and a week of my time could be better served doing podcasts or working with clients or creating content, all different sorts of things. So I had that conversation, and then during the conversation, he said, oh, with your training portal,
do you do custom stuff with it? And I said, oh, yeah, we've got 2 developers who work on it. And he said, oh, I think you would qualify for a research and development grant as well. And I was like, oh, but we're not in the tech industry. He goes, no, you actually do fall into the tech industry. And I was like, oh, okay. So he said, I'm going to put you in contact with a mate of mine who works for a different company, and that's their specialty. And so all of a sudden I'm walking away going, wow, there are all these opportunities that are sitting out there that realistically, if I hadn't have been in the right frame of mind, and I will say that some of these have come from being in the CEO club, some of these opportunities and some of these connections. But honestly, just getting yourself out of the weeds, stopping doing all the things and actually having good quality people around you makes a freaking world of difference. Because already the other team member that we've brought on, it's only been like a week and a half, 2 weeks, we can't live without her. She's amazing and she's, fantastic and learning all the things, and it just feels already so much lighter. So I'm recording this just before I go to see my daughter's school principal because I'm having some issues with the school. But the great thing is I'm going there with a really positive mindset. I'm going there with this mindset of, you know what, shit, I'm having a great day. I mean, nothing amazing has actually happened. Just my mindset is different. And in fact, I actually messaged back my personal trainer saying, thank you so much for our conversation today. I actually feel I've gone from unsettled to watch out world, here I come. So I'm going to meet with the school principal just to have some conversations about what's happening at school. But I feel good and I feel really empowered walking into this conversation, not in a negative mindset. So because I was having such a great day, which actually could have been maybe a not so great day, I thought I would just jump in. And this little recording's been way longer than I expected it to, but it was such a pivotal moment. I feel like this is one of those days where you look back in the future and go, oh my gosh, on that day, so many things changed. And just my clarity of the business and how we're going to help people and the extra things we can add in to make the customer experience better and the different ways that we can empower people with knowledge. It feels like my brain is exploding, but I'm really pumped up about what the future holds. So this morning has been very interesting. After deciding that the salesperson that I hired wasn't a right fit for the business, it is time to go on the hunt for a new salesperson. Now, she never actually applied for a job as a salesperson. It was just her background, and it made me realize that actually what we do need is a great salesperson in our business. But today I've discovered a whole bunch of words I never even knew existed. And thank you to my husband for helping me because he is in the sales industry. But I just put up my first ad for a sales manager and I wasn't getting anybody who was the right fit. So I said to my husband, what I need is I don't need someone to go out and do appointment setting or cold calling. I just need somebody who can talk to our customers when they want to work with us and give them the right advice on what products are suitable for them. And he was telling me all the differences between inbound sales and outbound sales and sales closes and all these words I didn't even know existed. And when you know the right questions to ask and you've got the right people to ask, all of a sudden it's making life so much easier because now I know what I need is what's called an inbound salesperson. So that person isn't the pushy sales person that calls you out of the blue. That's someone who does work with our customers, and if they want help to move their business forward, they'll find the right product that's suitable for where they're at their journey. And so it is a whole situation of when you open up your mind, when you open up your mindset to growth, all of the things that just come flooding into you and into your space and the opportunities and just the systems and processes and the words the things that you learn are just amazing. And I feel like my brain is so excited all over again.
Okay, so today I hired a new sales manager. Now I have to put together a contract. Now, normally this would absolutely scare the bejesus out of me because I have no idea how salespeople work. Obviously, they get base and they get commission, but I have no idea how to structure that. Cue CEO Club. I jumped onto the app and asked if anyone could help me with remuneration structures. And one of the guys at the club that I go to was like, yeah, give me a call. So I called him and he spent a good half an hour with me telling me how their sales structures work, how their team get tiered, sales commissions, and went through everything that we sell and gave me some ideas and gave me some pointers on what he thought would be appropriate for those levels of sales. And I literally had the entire sales structure mapped out in, I would say, less than 2 hours. Now, before CEO Club, I would have had no idea how to do this. I probably would have done something wrong. I would have spent weeks trying to work out what needed to be done. I would have called on favors from people, but I love having this CEO Club network just to be able to get things like that fixed in a matter of minutes. So I'm super excited to be welcoming our new salesperson on board and just what this can do for the business, but also for our customers. And I know I've been saying a lot that my brain is on fire and I can see all these opportunities, but I think a lot of this is stuff that I have had thought about or have had in the back of my head or wanted to put into place for so long, but I just didn't know how to do it. But what I really want our company to be able to do is to help our customers find the right thing for where they're at, not just sell them stuff. I want my team to be able to assess somebody's business, assess their goals and say, you know what would probably help you? This. And so I am, as I said, I think I've used the word excited in these messages about 4 billion times, but this is the thing. When you have that clarity to know what it is you want, even though I don't know all of the steps, but I now have this concept of where the business can go. Having that clarity gives me the confidence to ask questions, to go out and hire people, even though it is freaking scary bringing on full-time people with full-time wages and knowing that they have to be paid. Like, that is really scary. But when you have the vision, you have something to work towards. And that clarity gives you that confidence and it gives you the control. It is everything that we built Scale Your Store around, clarity, confidence, and control. But seeing it in place, like reliving this firsthand, makes me know, like it just reiterates to me that everything inside of our programs is built to help our people scale, to get them out of having a job and into a business that is a profitable, scalable asset. So I'll keep you updated with what happens. Well, it has been a couple of weeks since I did one of these recordings and a lot has happened. If you have listened for a while, you'll know that back in January, I tweaked something in my back and we've been trying to get to the bottom of it. It's extremely painful and it is debilitating. I actually can't walk when it happens. And so I've been seeing chiros and physios and we think we've worked out that basically I have, which I've always known, I have stupidly hypermobile joints. But now that I'm getting a little bit older, the hormones have kicked in and all my hypermobile joints are becoming even more hypermobile, which means they're not sitting where they're supposed to. And so the great thing about this is, one, I am so grateful for the fact that I can afford to see these people. The pain that the pain that I am in, but the pain that I would be in for so much longer. And it isn't just the pain, I'll be honest, it is the not knowing is hard. The fear of the unknown, that is the thing that keeps you trapped in pain. Whereas if you know that you're going to go to the doctor or you can get medication or you can have exercises to fix the problem, you don't have the unknown anymore. You've got that goal to work towards, or walk towards in this case. So I am extremely grateful that I'm in a position to pay to go to physios and chiros to work out the problem, to get tests done, to get x-rays done. My problem is my back has now gone out. I say my back has gone out, right? But it's not my back. It's a muscular thing in my lower back. Since January, this is the 4th occasion it has happened. So it's happening more and more frequently. And when it happens, it is ridiculously painful. As I said, I can't often walk, but I'm determined to work out the problem. So now that we think we know what the problem is, I've got an exercise regime and we're working towards hopefully making sure that this doesn't happen again in the future. So that is good. But having brought on 2 new full-time team members in this tumultuous period where I felt like I haven't necessarily been the best leader, because it is really hard to make big decisions and to lead when you are in so much pain. But hopefully I have done a reasonable job during all of this. And I am so proud of our 2 new people, Joed and Maria Elena, and what they are doing for the business. And for me, being able to, one, see how excited they are about helping our customers. Like, I cannot explain, well, I will try to explain, but I've known this throughout all of my time of owning businesses and having a team that absolutely love the vision more than anything else. And when I brought Joed on, who is our business manager, within the first meeting, she had gone off, researched the company and had fallen in love with our vision. And I do 100% believe that you can train anyone who is that passionate to do whatever job you need them to do. And she is an absolute star. Maria Elena has only been with us, I think, maybe 2 weeks now. And again, she is passionate about helping retail and e-commerce store owners to grow. It is actually what drew her to the job. And when she talked to me, when she looked through the website, she actually went and listened to some of our podcasts as well. She came back and she said, I really want to be part of your team. And again, I just don't think you can't buy that. You can't make that up. It's really hard to put into words, but there is this intangible asset that comes when people are aligned with your vision and helping people. And that passion and that enthusiasm comes through. And this is why I am just, even through all of this pain and through all of the money, it has been like gobsmacking how much money I have spent in the last, since March. So March, April, May, June, July. So the last 5 months, I've probably spent close to 6 figures on investing in the business, which is a very different strategy to what I would normally have done. But the great thing about this is I keep talking, I've probably on most of these messages said something about clarity, confidence and control. This is the thing when you have that clarity, and even if you don't know exactly the things that you need to do, if you have the vision, if you have that end point that you want to get to, it starts to mean that when you invest, you have to put a return on investment in. So for example, with the ads agency, it's a large amount of money, but I know I've set KPIs for them. We're heading down to Reed Gift Fair to do complimentary strategy sessions, and we've put together this great little scale bundle for a little bundle of products to help people scale their businesses. But I've had to put KPIs on that as well. Whereas before, I would have turned up with an idea of what I wanted to achieve. But now we have strict KPIs on what we want to achieve and how many people we're going to help, how many strategy sessions we want to do, how many speaking sessions am I going to do. And this gives me so much confidence to just, even if we don't hit those goals, the fact is we have a target to work towards. Whereas before we didn't have a target. We just kind of pulled a number out of the air for these sorts of things. So now every single investment just like with my team, Maria Elena has a sales target to meet. When she hits that, she earns commission. She still gets a base wage, but she comes back to me now and she says, I'm going to do this week and here are my expectations of what I'm going to get back. And whilst it's a little bit more difficult with things like Joette and the business manager, the expectation there is a job that needs to be done and we need to complete everything by the end of the week. So whilst the KPIs aren't necessarily numbers driven for her, they are definitely deadline driven and there is an expectation. And you know what? When people enjoy what they're doing, they don't mind. They don't just waste their time procrastinating. And I am so grateful to have the team that I have because we have so much planned in the next couple of months that it makes my head swim. But even though through all of the pain that I've gone through, and I'll be honest, it is really difficult to be positive when you are this much in pain and when you fear it happening all over again. And I know that the last time this happened, which was actually just on Sunday, I was at the gym and I was doing everything right and I just went to put the weights back on the ground and it was just that simple little 20 centimeter movement from my knee to the ground that my back went. And my husband said to me, that was at 8 o'clock in the morning, and by lunchtime, he's like, you look really, really bad. And the funny thing was I wasn't even in that much pain. It all happens the next day, but it was depression sinking in. It was like, oh my God, this is happening all over again. But I went to the physio on Tuesday and by Thursday I was back at the gym again. And although my training is now more of a rehab, again, I have a goal to get towards. And my personal trainer, Lauren, is amazing. She's like, you need to have a goal. So at the beginning of every week, we're going to set 3 targets for you to achieve. And it's up to you to try and achieve them without hurting yourself because hashtag overachiever will always try and do something, even if it's going to hurt myself. But that's the challenge, is to do these things without hurting myself. It is such a relief to have a goal. And I know so many people think when they give their team or even themselves a goal to work towards, that it will have an adverse effect. But I can actually tell you it's the opposite, because as humans, we intrinsically need to know if we've done a good job. And we don't get self-satisfaction if we don't know that we've reached a goal. If we've, it's like going for a run, not that I run, but going for a run. If you go, all right, I'm going to run for 5Ks, then you can celebrate when you run for 5Ks. If I'm lifting weights, I can celebrate if I go up to the next weight. It's just having that goal gives you that internal satisfaction, but it also gives you the challenge to continue to keep moving. I wanted to let you know, my message from this recording is, even though sometimes it can feel like everything is going backwards, maybe it is just to show you how much everything has moved forward, and that you just have to think again about what you want and put yourself back on the path. Because that's how I have felt recently. It has felt like it has been 3 steps forward and 3.5 steps backwards. But then I read these recordings. I've just re-listened to all these recordings to prepare for the podcast and realized how far we have come in just a few months. And even though I'm extremely impatient when it comes to business growth, and I wish it had all happened faster, just listening to these recordings has made me understand that, 1, I am a good leader, and 2, I so freaking love what I do. I love hearing the stories. Marie told us a story in the Scale Your Store group the other day about one of her offers going viral with YouTubers and someone else celebrating just selling 1 mystery bag. And this stuff floats my boat. I want to stop giving people a job and I want them to start building businesses. No more boss babe. I don't want you to be a boss babe. I don't want you to open the change room and look at the mess that's in there and think, oh, I've got to clean that up. I want you to have a team who enjoy that and you get to lead them.
and you get to do the things in your business that you love doing, which is what I'm doing now. And, we will bring on more people. But right now, having the team that I've got has meant that in the last 3 weeks, I've managed to write, record, and get edited a brand new course. Now, I couldn't do that if I was worried about newsletters going out or how our email management system worked or uploading products to the website. No, but all of this has filled me with so much happiness when I have honestly felt a lot like shit because I've been in so much pain. So maybe this is something you could do. Maybe you could make these little voice recordings to yourself so that you can look back in 3 months or 6 months and see how far you've come. Alrighty, that's me signing off. So what do you think of that little walk down memory lane? As I said, it is amazing how you can look back and see the excitement and the air of opportunity. I reckon I said the words excited and opportunity about 500 times in this episode. But I wanted to talk about why I think this has happened. Why has my whole outlook on my business changed, even though there's been a lot of what I previously would have called negative things happening in my life? Pain. We're talking the hiring and the firing, all that kind of stuff that would normally probably would have gotten me down before this. So my thoughts are, one, I've probably just grown up a little bit, but mostly I do believe that joining CEO Club has made me think bigger, and it has been able to make me see opportunities where before I didn't know that they existed because I'd never been exposed to some of these situations before. And this is what I love. And look, let's be honest, it cost a lot of money to join. And what I get from it is, sure, I get a couple of networking meetings, but it is up to me to leverage what they provide. What they provide is basically a space with some people in it, and it is up to you to be part of that community. So I think being exposed to different people in different industries who a lot of them are much further along in their businesses or have bigger teams or have made more money or have been through highs and lows and are happy to share that. Having these people has made life so much easier. One, it has made me think bigger, and that is kind of our motto that we have inside of our business for Scale Your Store. But that thinking bigger, I didn't know what it looked like. And now that I've had some of these conversations, I have an idea of what it looks like. I don't know how quickly it's going to happen. And I'll be honest, a lot of growth has happened because of investment. I have put a lot of money into the business before where, not that I've never bootstrapped this company, but I've always been very mindful. Let's be honest, I'm a tight ass. But I've also been very mindful about where my money has gone. Opening up to new ideas and to new opportunities and new people has allowed me to put money into places that I maybe wouldn't have done before and into situations that can allow much bigger returns. But there's bigger risk. So this is something that I have to weigh up as the business owner. And this is where a lot of shopkeepers, because if you've been following me for a while, you know that we talk about shopkeepers are the people who work in their business most of the time. They essentially have built themselves a job. They haven't built a scalable, profitable entity. A CEO leads a business. When you become the CEO of your business, you might not be at that point yet. You might still have a bit of a job, but you have the vision, you have the leadership, and you know what you need to do to move your business forward. So a lot of shopkeepers get held back by risk, but you have to have some risk to get reward. And sometimes it's going to pay off big and sometimes it's not, but you cannot grow your business from a place of fear. You have to grow it from a place of clarity, confidence, and control. You have to be confident in your decisions, knowing that you have weighed up the chances of them succeeding and of them not succeeding. And what will happen? Because what too many shopkeepers focus on is what will happen if it doesn't work. But what will happen if it does? And that can be really, really scary for some people. They want a small business. They want to have a job, and that is totally okay. But if you want more than a job, then this is the right place to be. This is the programs that we create for you. This is what my team and I are so passionate about. Sure, we'll be there and we'll give you advice if you want to have a job. But realistically, most people are attracted to myself and the Retail Academy and my team because we want more for you. We want you to think bigger. We want you to be bigger. And that doesn't necessarily mean you have to be a global enterprise, but we want you to be in a position where everything is not controlled by how much energy you can put in. And everything is not controlled by how many places that you can be. Because just like I can serve more of you guys or girls, if I have a better team and a passionate team and a bigger team, you can serve more customers, but you also get to have a life as well. I don't think most of you listening started a business to have a job. And sure, lots of people are totally happy having a job. And it is not for us to judge whether somebody is perfectly happy in a job. That's okay. If that fulfills them, awesome. But I'm guessing that if you're listening to this podcast, you want more than that. So I hope that these recordings, my little walk down memory lane, my little brain bubble, my little light bulb moments that have happened in 2022 could maybe give you that little push you need to think bigger in your business. Like, what would happen if you went back to that original vision that you had for your company? What would happen if you succeeded with that? What is one tiny little step that you could take today to move that little bit closer to what you really want from your business? I'm going to leave you with that today. I can't wait to see you if you are coming to visit us at Reed Gift Fairs in Melbourne. Remember, you can still grab your complimentary strategy session over at scaleyourstore.com/Reed. And maybe I'll see you at the Retail Academy Live in September in Melbourne as well. Or maybe I'll see you on the ski slopes in the beautiful snowy mountains of Australia. Either way, if I don't see you in real life, I will see you back here, same time next week on the podcast. You have a fabulous day, and I'll talk to you then. So that's a wrap. I'd love to hear what insight you've gotten from this episode and how you're going to put it into action. If you're a social kind of person, follow me at @TheSelena and make sure to leave a comment and let me know. And if this episode made you think a little bit differently, or gave you some inspiration, or perhaps gave you the kick that you needed to take action, then please take a couple of minutes to leave me a review on your platform of choice. Because the more reviews the show gets, the more independent retail and e-commerce stores just like yours that we can help to scale. And when that happens, it's a win for you, a win for your community, and a win for your customers. I'll see you on the next episode.